Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of New Bern where a fatal accident occurred. Now troopers say the accident happened at around 9:15 p.m. at the intersection of Rivershore Drive and Gibbs Road in James City last night. Now they say 45-year-old Sandra Creelman was heading west on Rivershore Drive when she didn't stop at the stop sign at Gibbs Road. Now, the Highway Patrol says the woman's car went straight off the road before hitting a ditch and a tree. Now, she was taken to Carolina East Medical Center where she died from her injuries. Now, in other news, Allen Road in Greenville is getting an upgrade. It is getting not just an upgrade, a full-on expansion. Now, the NCDOT has awarded a $47 million contract to Barnhill Contracting to expand about 2.4 miles of Allen Road in Greenville. Now, the project will take the road from 2 lanes to a 4-lane median divided highway stretching from Stantonsburg Road to the Dickinson Avenue extension. It also includes upgrades to both major intersections at Stantonsburg and Dickinson Avenue extension. Now, construction could begin as soon as December 1st, and the project is expected to be completed by late 2029. Now, for real-time travel information, you can always visit drivenc.gov. And now we want to turn our attention to the ongoing war in Ukraine. NBC's Keir Simmons has more from, looks like, London.
Hey there, good day to you. A U.S. official confirming to NBC News that there are talks underway between the U.S. and Russia in Abu Dhabi, here in the United Arab Emirates. Those talks, according to that U.S. official, between U.S., Russian and separately Ukrainian officials behind closed doors in Abu Dhabi. A U.S. Army spokesman saying the talks are going well. There has been an angry reaction from Moscow, the Russian government accusing Europe of leaking information about the talks in order to reach an agreement. That U.S. official says U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is here in the UAE for those talks. He was in Geneva for the talks there between the Europeans and the Ukrainians. At that meeting, a 28-point plan put together by the Trump administration that was criticized for having very few compromises on the Russian side, that was adapted and changed. Now there is a new plan, and we assume that that is being discussed with the Russians. The Secretary of Ukraine's National Security Council saying we expect to arrange Zelensky's visit to the US as soon as possible, suggesting it could happen in November. So, of course, that's by the end of this week to, quote, finalize the last points of the deal. But some of the issues in all this that the Europeans and Ukrainians will have pushed for will have been that Ukraine is allowed to determine its own territory and its security, and that will contradict some of the demands by the Russians. So the question remains, with President Trump's Thanksgiving deadline looming, is there going to be a deal?
Well, thank you very much, Keir, for that report. We now turn to your weather forecast, looking at some rain showers approaching eastern North Carolina coming up later on this evening through the overnight hours and then through at least the first half of tomorrow. Here's a look at what we've got coming up across the southeastern United States. We've got our eyes not only, of course, just on the big massive moisture that's moving across Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, but more so the frontal boundary and the bow echo right now that is sweeping its way across Georgia and right now moving across South Carolina and North Carolina. Again, we were anticipating that boundary to reach Columbia by noon. Right now, it looks like it is slowing down and weakening, which is important for us. This would have been a big driver of widespread rain showers in eastern North Carolina later on this evening if it again arrives intact. Right now, it's looking like that opportunity is getting smaller and smaller. Right now, it's a system that is showing weakening versus strengthening. So moving forward through the next few hours, we'll continue to keep an eye on increasing cloud cover, but rain showers will start to roll in, I would say, around sunset later on this evening. How air temperatures today still expected to get into the low 70s. Coming up for tomorrow, even more heat on the way despite the rain showers and the cloud cover that will be present. Again, rain tomorrow was going to be a little bit more spotty, hit and miss, but then as we head to Wednesday at around tomorrow, Wednesday, 7 p.m. to around 11 p.m. This is when the cold front fully crosses over eastern North Carolina. Winds will shift and air temperatures will drop. For now, enjoy the sunny weather while we have it. Again, 73 degrees in Grifton. Again, comes with certainly some high-level clouds over eastern North Carolina. Low-level clouds, though, fairly sparse. 73 degrees certainly feels nice with that southerly wind at 11 miles an hour. Here's a look at temperatures across the board. Just about all of us right now in the low 70s to mid 70s. We do have still a few areas that are still in the 60s. We've got 67 in Ahoskie, 68 in Oriental. 67 as well in Manio, 69 in Goldsboro. Roanoke Rapids slowing down on the, well, not really slowing down, just it's one of those turtle versus the hare races, or tortoise versus a hare races. Roanoke Rapids attempting to get into the low 70s today. Still a possibility, even though 61 degrees right now isn't all that close. I think we'll see enough heat come up from the south to really push those temperatures a little bit higher than that 70-degree mark. Anyways, humidity is up. That is important to note. We've got another about 2 to 4 hours of heating and humidity rise left through the day today. So these dew points could certainly be getting into the low 60s as winds continue to pick up speed out of the south. Right now, southern communities, southern counties, south of Highway 264, looking at around a 10 to 15 mile an hour sustained breeze. Those of you watching along and north of 264, right now looking at more of a 7 to 15 mile per hour sustained wind. Gusts will be a little bit more present later on tonight into tomorrow than what we're seeing outside right now, but winds are expected to get stronger across the board out of the south to eventually the southwest through the day tomorrow. And then tomorrow night into your Thursday morning, that's when the winds shift. We see a big push of colder air roll into eastern North Carolina and the temperatures plummet. We'll be going from the upper 70s tomorrow all the way down into really the mid 40s by the time we hit Friday. Now Thursday, of course, Thanksgiving is going to be a day spent largely in, I would give it the upper 40s to low 50s. That's going to essentially be our range for the day. Highs in the low to mid 50s for your Thursday for Thanksgiving, but that area of high pressure is really going to anchor in that cold air. Now it could be quite a bit colder if the mountains weren't where they are. The mountains are going to do a very good job of keeping a lot of the coldest air out of eastern North Carolina. You can see that gray again continuing to try to back itself up across the east, but those mountains not really allowing that cold air to truly filter in. So here's a look at your full 8-day forecast. Again, upper 70, mid to upper 70s coming up for tomorrow. Low to mid 50s on Thanksgiving. Friday, 47 degrees, 48 on Saturday, and then we're back to the low 60s as we head through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, with rain chances coming in again later on this evening, and then again Monday and Tuesday of next week. But overall, should be a dry and chilly holiday weekend. Well, that's all we have time for today's noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you back here coming up at 1 o'clock.